Warning: the following video presentation contains scenes of extreme deliciousness. Failure to either eat first or bring a snack to consume during the presentation could result in wanting to lick the screen or in some way act the fool. Ain't nobody want that. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, boys and ghouls. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK.
Hey everybody, how's everyone doing today? I'm doing all right. Yeah, doing okay. Just taking care of business, trying to teach myself how to use DaVinci Resolve. It's a video editing program. But things have been good. I will say I have been really enjoying the current Meatballs show that's been going on. So, if you're not familiar, hey, Avocado Cream KitchenAid, welcome. Sumo wrestling. They have their tournaments are called Boss shows, and they're held usually every 2 months. And the May one just started a couple of days ago, and so there's a guy that's been streaming it online, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. The third day took place last night, and usually the really high level ones don't take place until much later, at least much later for me. But I stayed up and watched a good amount of it last night. It was really good. There was a lot of really good matches. And it got me thinking about the food that the sumo wrestlers usually eat. And I'm imagining Mrs. Hueso squirting me with the squirt bottle for saying and. The traditional sort of stew that the sumo wrestlers eat is called chonko nabe, which nabe is just a simmered hot pot / stew in Japanese, and chonko is what they call the stew that they usually make. It's normally really high protein. There's vegetation in it. It's not super fatty at all, but it's the sort of catch-all that sounded really good. And so I'm kind of thinking before the Boss show is finally over that I might try making it on stream. Probably on a Saturday. Maybe this Saturday, maybe next Saturday, because the Boss show runs for a full 15 days. And day 3 just happened, so we've got at least a solid 12 to go. So next Saturday might be the best. Who knows? Maybe we'll do this Saturday, but it can be just a little complicated in the fact that there's a ton of different ingredients. But it sounds really good, and I think it'd be a really good time. So, Sunday, Mrs. Hueso and I went over to a friend of hers home for dinner. I made food. Basically did all the prep, took it over there, and made the food there. And we're going to be doing this on a monthly basis. the topic, well, the meal for next month, they wanted to do Korean barbecue. We were in instantly. And so we thought, hey, you know what? This would actually be a good opportunity to, say, do all the prep work on the Saturday stream before we go over to their place on Sunday for the Korean barbecue. So we'll make like the banchan, we'll marinate and do all of that kind of on Saturday. Then on the Tuesday stream, we'll have all those banchan that we made, the little side dishes. And then we're gonna set it up and do Korean barbecue, probably at the table, which means I'll have to move cameras and I'll have to move a bunch of equipment and stuff like that. But now that it's kind of in the books, we've been talking about wanting to do something like that. So it's going to force me to figure out how to do it real quick. It'll be a good time. So that's just kind of what's in the works and what we're thinking. As for today, Saturday I had planned on, hey Lothaba, welcome. Empanadas are European. You know what? Empanadas are from all over the place. I mean, there's a lot of cultures that have filled sort of hand pies, be it from South America, be it from Europe, kind of all over the place. And thankfully, it's one of those things that you can kind of stick whatever you want into them. But Saturday, I was planning on making empanadas and streaming it, but that's just not kind of how the day worked out. But we decided, hey, you know what? Empanadas are delicious, so we're gonna make empanadas again today. Gonna do three different empanadas. The same dough is gonna be used for all of them, but we're gonna have a couple of different fillings. The first one that we're gonna do is it's my same potato taco filling from about a month or so ago, which is, potatoes and half ground beef with like onions and garlic and seasoning. There's also carrot, corn, and peas mixed into it. So I have some of that filling that we'll use, and then we're going to add some cheese to it, and then that'll go into one of the empanadas. And all of these are going to be baked. You can easily fry empanadas, but the dough usually needs to be a little bit drier before frying. If there's too much moisture in it, it could just come apart. So in this case, we're going to be baking them. Thankfully, the dough, once it's done, you can just start working with it. Although the empanadas do need about a half hour to rest after having been filled before baking, which is why my plan is we're going to take care of the fillings so that they're nice and cool. Then we'll make the dough, make batch number 1 of empanadas, get them in the fridge to chill, make batch number 2 of the empanadas, get those into the fridge to chill, make batch number 3 of the empanadas, get those into the fridge to chill. I've lost weight. Was I bigger? So we'll have the 3 batches, and then they'll come out as they've hit that 30-minute mark. I've got the timers, and we'll have them all set up. Bake them for about, I want to say 25 minutes or so, after giving them an egg wash, so they get nice and brown, and then we can enjoy them. So that being the case, I want to get started on the other fillings. Oh, the other 2 fillings that we're going to do, one of them is going to be a dessert one. So it's going to be sauteed apples with raisins, a little bit of butter, brown sugar, some cinnamon, and just a splash of rum. We're going to cook that so that the apples get nice and soft. But then we need to cool it down, because the last thing you want when making empanadas is to have a filling that's way too liquidy. If it's you'd want something that's gonna kind of bind together and be more solid, just because trying to fit a liquid into a dough that you're trying to fold up is no fun. The other thing is think of it kind of like making soup dumplings. Soup dumplings, that soup is going to be in a kind of a solid form that they wrap up into the dumpling and then steam. but we're not aiming for a soup consistency. I just want something that's going to hold together and be stickier. So like the potato taco filling that I have, that's already done and it's been in the fridge, so it's nice and solid. I don't need to worry about it. But I want to get everything else kind of cooked up that needs to be, so that it has time to cool down. Drunken Apples, nice. Hey, Squire Creamsicle, how you doing? The other one we're going to do at Mrs. Oaso's request, because she wants calzone. And so we're going to do basically like the English muffin pizzas, almost the exact same fillings. The onion, mushroom, and pepperoni with cheese and a bit of the sauce. But we're going to adjust the amount, so then that way, like I said, it's going to be on the slightly drier side. What on earth are the dogs doing? I just hear them making noise back there. Thankfully, all we need to do is saute up mushroom, onion, and garlic, and then we can get that cooling down and stir everything else in. The apples are going to take a little bit longer, so I'm thinking I want to get that done first. So for that, okay, got my apple. I'm using a Granny Smith apple because it'll hold together better when cooking. I'm not looking to make apple sauce. I do want a more solid consistency that'll soften up. So we'll peel this and then dice it up. I got just a raisin medley in here that I picked up at the market, and so I just want to hit that with a splash of rum. And it doesn't have to be anything special. I'm just using Plantation Original Dark because it was relatively inexpensive when I picked it up. And that way the raisins will have a chance to kind of soak a little bit and kind of soften up. So we're just going to leave these until we need them. Oh, hi, puppy. So I'm just peeling this guy and then gonna dice it up, and then we'll get it into the pan to start sauteing, and then we'll just start chopping up everything else that we need for the mini calzone filling, which won't take very long either, which is kind of nice. And the whole reason why I'm peeling the apples, just because when it gets diced up, the skin tends to be a little bit chewy, and it's not necessarily the greatest of things to be munching on. So then that way it's just kind of a nicer eating experience. There might be a little bit of skin just from the edge here, but it's not going to be enough to give me any cause for concern. Okay. So I'm thinking about thirds on each of these quarters. Up. Apple's done. Got those raisins. The only other thing I need is the dark brown sugar. I've got butter already over there. So I'm gonna get stuff going on the stove, and then we can start cooking these apples. I don't want too much butter in this particular case, just because, again, I want more of a solid consistency of filling. And then I'm going to do something that's going to seem a little weird, but just roll with it. So I'm actually going to hit the apples with a little bit of salt. And I know it seems kind of like a strange thing to do, but the reason for it is so that in that way... Oh, hey, Matt Kelly, what's going on? So then that way it starts to kind of break them down a little bit, and it also will help balance out the dark brown sugar that gets added to it. And I got my cinnamon here. Now, generally speaking, when it comes to making this, I don't really measure anything out. It's purely like kind of a sight feel thing. Wow, that camera is pretty blown out, which is funny because I have the ring light that's up here turned off just so it wouldn't blow it out. Alright, I'm going to add a bit of the brown sugar. Yep. And the raisins in that rum. This probably will... Yep. Because 80 proof alcohol does that sort of thing. It catches fire pretty easily. But the big thing when dealing with flames in a pan like that is just keeping your cool and not freaking out. Thankfully, I've been cooking long enough, and I've been around these types of fires enough times to where it's a non-issue for me. It's like I know it's gonna flame up. I know roughly how big the flames are gonna be, and so I don't really worry about it. Hey, Lumpy Pickle, we're making empanadas today, buddy. So right now we're sauteing the apples for the dessert empanadas. So then that way we can cool it down, and then you taught a fire safety class on Saturday. That's really funny, Matt Kelly. So we can cool it down before filling them, so it'll be way easier to fill and work with. Oh, hi, puppy. Did you tire yourself out? Alright, these apples are starting to feel pretty soft. And since they're going to end up being baked, I don't need to cook them a heck of a lot. Alright. So yeah, here's our sauteed apple filling. Now, if you don't want to use rum, You do not have to. That is not a requirement at all. It is a flavoring that happens to go really, really well with it. Yeah, you don't have to add any liquid like that at all. To be honest, you could easily just do the butter and brown sugar and then let it, Oh, interesting. Lumpy Pickle, is this the package that I think it is? Because if it is, then that is excellent. Thank you very kindly, sir. Oh, the turkey frying video. Yeah, I bet that was a fun one. We can talk about that in a minute. So, okay, that one's done. I'm gonna go wash this pan out because, well, I plan on using it. Oh, nice. I plan on using this for the other stuff. Okay, that's washed, ready to go for round 2. I ran 3 loads of dishes today. I don't particularly want to run the dishwasher yet again, but it's one of those things when you have not only a bunch of dishes, but like pots and pans, and the last load that I ran was actually sheet trays and cutting boards, really big stuff. So it wasn't like it was packed to the brim, but it was just things that firefly on the fridge. Yeah. Oh, and I do have a shark on the fridge there, Lumpy, which I know you'd appreciate. Yeah, Pizza Hot Pocket. So do you remember the English muffin pizzas that I made? We're going to use that sauce. We're going to use the cheese. We're going to use the pepperoni. We're going to saute up onion, mushroom, and garlic. Mix that all together, and then that's going to go in an empanada. So that's what we got going on. I like it with a pinch of zest. Sauteed apples, not fried turkeys. Well, I can see how, like, lemon zest with fried turkey would actually work if you stuck it, like, underneath the skin. That could be really good. But yeah, turkey frying safety is a huge thing. I really like the Good Eats episode where Alton Brown talked about that and how you've got this giant boiling cauldron of oil, and if there's any moisture on the turkey whatsoever, it's just going to cause it to overflow and cause a massive fire. His first turkey derrick, which was a really interesting idea by using a large ladder placed over where the frying station is, and then by using a series of pulleys slowly lowering the turkey into the fryer that way for maximum safety, which was a good idea. Not necessarily the most practical, but nonetheless a good idea. So, fried turkey empanadas. Yeah, to be honest, I mean, thankfully empanadas are super versatile in that particular respect. So you can either fry the turkey and then stick it in the empanada, or you can put the turkey in the empanada and then fry the empanada. So, yeah, if you're careful and not a dummy, fried turkey is not a big deal. It's really not. It's just, you got to be careful of that moisture, and you just got to go slow. You can't drop it in. But Restaurant Hero fried turkeys for people as a public safety service, that's actually pretty cool. Offering to fry up turkeys for people, so then that way, you know, Turkey Day safety. Okay. So, boom. Again, I should say that the number of empanadas that we're making, the recipe that I have makes 12 empanadas, but they're kind of on the about that big across, which is about 4 or 5 inches across. So I'm multiplying that recipe by 1.5. So then that way I'm making 6 of each empanada. And they're all going to go on their individual quarter baking sheet. which I have foiled up already just to make my life way easier. So, at any rate, I don't need to make a ton of filling because I'm not making a ton of each type. But, okay. But mushroom that'll saute up really nicely. My counter's clean, it's okay. Then I've got a bit of onion left over from, I don't remember what I was doing with it, but I think it's like a quarter of an onion. So that's gonna go in. Oh, I remember what I was using other parts of it for. We had hot dogs last night, and I minced up onion to go on top. Alright, so we got our onions, we got our mushroom. And a couple of cloves of garlic. We'll get that sauteing. And while that's going, we'll shred the 2 cheeses that I need. So I'm using Monterey Jack in the potato taco ones, which, lumpy pickle, just as an FYI, the potato taco filling is the same potato taco filling from, I don't know, what was that, like a month or so ago? Same methodology, same everything. The only thing that's different is that it has carrot, peas, and corn added to it just for a little bit of additional vegetation. That, and I made it on Saturday? Yeah, I think that was Saturday. I actually don't want super tiny garlic chunks. I want slightly bigger ones, so then that way it's a little bit milder and it won't burn quite as easy. Alright. Gonna add some of my totally Greek olive oil. Just a little bit. I think I need to make a new scene called Busy Kitchen, where I've got not only this camera going, but I got the stove camera going, and I'm alternating between the two. Thankfully that's super easy. It won't take you very much. Alright, bit of salt. That's just that kombu salt that I made. Bit of pepper. Turn that down just so then that way I can shred my cheeses. Now that I'm starting to do this, I know for a fact that the dogs are going to pop up because that's how they work. We fried 12 turkeys in the parking lot at my company. Oh man, that is a lot of fried turkey, dude. Like a lot of fried turkey. Got my pepperoni here. I'm gonna kind of chop this stuff up, and then that will go into the bowl. Bring over the black bowl once again. Another one of these. Joe with Decay's knife skills makes it look easy. The only reason why I've got the knife skills that I do is that I've practiced and have made an effort to work on and get better at. Like especially back when I was in culinary school, it was one of those things that you were working on your knife skills every day, and funny story. The first day of my kitchen classes when I was in school. I'm gonna watch this. It's going faster than I wanted it to. My very first kitchen class, they had us kind of do that knife skills test that I've talked about previously as a just trying to gauge where everybody was at in terms of their knife skills. So then that way the teacher can kind of make an assessment and then sort of take it from there. And here I am, I'm older than not only the instructor, but I'm older than, I think, everybody in that class. This is mozzarella, by the way. I don't need a ton of it. So, I remember thinking, like, before the class even started, like, I was kind of nervous, because I thought, you know, here are going to be, like, all these kids, like, straight out of high school, or they've got, like, this serious passion for cooking, and so they're going to, you know, have worked on their skills. They're going to just, you know, blow me out of the water, because here I am, like, what was I, 30 something at the time, and I figured they were just going to have so much of an advantage over me. Like, I didn't think my knife skills were very good. I just didn't have a ton of confidence, but I figured, you know what, I'm here to learn. Let's do this. So we're going through, and I remember specifically it was when we got to the garlic, like we had to mince up, I forget how many cloves of garlic. That'll go good. And I've got some leftover cheese, and I'm kind of thinking, oh, we'll throw this in with the potato tacos because it's Moz, and Monterey Jack isn't terribly strong. Actually, to be honest, I don't know if I even need to crack open the Monterey Jack. I kind of feel like that amount of cheese in the potato taco filling might be just about right. Here's that filling, by the way. At any rate, doing the knife test, get to the garlic, and I'm trying to, like, use the knife in the way that they had said to do it, where, you know, you're holding on and you're trying to keep the tip on the board and do the rocking sawing motion. But I had never been very good at that. It's just not how my using the knife evolved. I'm very much more of a, I have to actually lift it up, because it never made sense to me, like, keeping the tip on the board. If I'm trying to chop something, I got this big area, but if I do it like that, there's less area for me to, you know, get my fingers caught in. I didn't want to cut my fingers off. That would be bad. So I'm trying to do it the way that they're, you know, tell me to do it. Trying to, you know, trying to learn, try to do their thing. Anyways, we get to the garlic, and I was just like, screw this noise. We're baking the empanadas. Oh yeah, you told your mom about the ground beef water method? I know, it seems really counterintuitive and really insane, but it works. What can I say? So yeah, anyways, I said, screw it. I'm just gonna do it like I know how. So this was kind of funny, and it's also how I made a couple of very good friends. We get the garlic going, I smashed it, and instead of sitting here doing it like this, I was just like, screw that noise, and I just started going and just running my knife through it, and you just hear this like ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, because that's just how I was. And suddenly, like, the entire class kind of stopped and turned. And a guy that I became really good friends with, Galen, he was just like, what do you got going on over there? And I'm like, I'm just chopping garlic. And I'm like, oh? So, and that was just kind of the point where I realized, you know what, I'm going to be just fine. And sure enough, I was definitely more than fine in culinary school. So, okay. Potato taco filling, that looks like it's sufficient cheese that's kind of mixed in there. So, I'm happy with that. This is still it's still a bit warm. So I'm kind of guessing that we'll probably fill these last, just to give this a little bit more time to cool down. Let's finish up the onions and mushrooms and everything else. And yes. Oh yeah. I know, jarred sauce. I know. Like, I feel the pain. Like, in some ways it kind of hurts me, but if I didn't give that cheese grater a good scrubbing right then and there, I knew it was not going to be pretty. Alright. This is softening up nicely. And I kind of feel like this is good to go. Alright. Like, I don't really want to add the hot stuff to this just yet, only because I don't want to melt the cheese in there. I'm making the dough, Lumpy Pickle. I haven't made the dough yet. I was holding off on it, only because this particular recipe, at least when I made it on Saturday, you're able to make the empanadas as soon as the dough is ready. Although, after you get them filled, it recommends letting them chill in the fridge for 30 minutes. So the plan is make the dough, make the empanadas, and as I'm going through and making them, when the first batch is filled and ready, they're going to go in the fridge. We're going to set a timer. Then we'll start making the next batch, get those in the fridge for 30 minutes, set that timer, and do the same for the third. And then as the timers run out, we'll pull them out, hit them with the egg wash, and then bake them. And then they bake for about 25 minutes, which reminds me I should really preheat that up. So my oven is currently set to 375 convection, which probably run about 400 degrees normal. That way, for this size, that's what worked for me when I made them. Your temperature may vary. I'm not going to add a ton of sauce to this. Maybe a third? Yeah. Because I don't want this to be super liquidy. But I want that pepperoni and I want that cheese. I want all of that stuff. Okay. That's about as wet as I want that. Okay. Hopefully don't. That is looking like a pretty good filling. Yeah, that should work quite nicely. All right, we've got our fillings. The apples still need to cool a bit, but it's going to take me a little bit in order to make the dough, so I'm not terribly worried about it. That one's ready to go. So I think our assembly order is going to be potato tacos, wannabe calzones, and then the apple ones as a dessert. So in the meantime, let me get this out of here. I'm going to need my scale. All right. Food processor time. So this particular empanada dough recipe, well, actually I shouldn't do that just yet because I need to measure out the flour into the work bowl. I don't recall what site I found the recipe for the dough on. I didn't want to post it because I wasn't 100% certain if it was something that calzone means underwear. That's really funny. Wasn't sure if this was a recipe that I really wanted to stick with because the first time I made it, I think I added too much liquid just because of the way that the dough was acting. But we're going to give this a go again. I'm going to be a little bit more chill about the amount of liquid that goes in. So just as a reference, the recipe, I'll show it to you here so you guys can see it. 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 6 ounces of unsalted butter, which is 12 tablespoons, by the way, an egg, and then anywhere between 1/4 to 1/2 cup of water or milk. I wrote 375 next to it since it's generally accepted that the weight of a cup of flour is 125 grams. I much prefer to go by weight because it's way more precise. So I'm just scaling this recipe up by 1.5 times, which is what I have in my notes here. So 562.5 grams of flour, 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I found that I like the dough with more salt in it personally, because if not, it was just sort of there. And I'm like, if I'm taking the time to make the dough and eat the dough, then I want the dough to taste good. The butter, which I have in the fridge, so it's cold. So 1.5 eggs. These eggs should weigh about 50 grams cracked each. So the idea is I'm going to do 2, add 1.5, and then keep the other half for the egg wash for when they come out of the fridge. And then, yeah, anywhere from 3/8 to 3/4 of a cup of milk. So let me get my butter out at least. I've already got my eggs out. Thought I had butter, lots of butter in the fridge when I went to check it last night. I didn't realize that I didn't, and this was 5 minutes before I started, and so the butter that's currently in my fridge had been in the freezer. It's a little too hard to throw into this, so I don't want to add it. But I got my measuring cup here. I need to get the milk out. Got the eggs. Measuring spoon for the salt, which is right here, and quick hydration. I completely agree with you, Lumpy Pickle, about pushing to go metric everywhere. Metric is a infinitely easier system to use. Makes it way easier to do any kind of conversions. You're not having to sit here and go well, how many teaspoons in a tablespoon, and how many tablespoons in in an ounce, how many, cups in a pint and things like that. It's just all, easily translatable. But fresh pizza dough is amazing. That is not something that I've attempted yet. It is on my list of things to try. So at some point, that is the plan. Okay. Flour down, butter, egg, salt. Oh. Let's measure out milk. I wanted to use milk instead of water, just because there's more flavor to it. And I only got 2/3 of a cup. That's awesome. Well, I will say this. When I made the dough on Saturday, I ended up adding the full, what would have been half cup. And I thought it was a little bit wet. So I was going to back it off to about 3/8. So the fact that this is 2/3, I think is going to be just about right. And if I need to add a little bit more, I'll add water, but this should be good for what we're doing. All right, flour time. This is just all-purpose flour. Nothing terribly special about it. And I'm aiming for 562.5. 7, 169, 219, 265, 365, 457, 531. All right, almost there. 530. 2, 44, 54, 60. 562 and a smidge. Okay. There we go. Back up here. And this will go in here. Okay. Then let's see. 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Oh, I think Mrs. Wayso's home. Hey! How you doing?
Hey.
Yeah? Alright. So we're just gonna pulse this to aerate the flour and get the salt kind of mixed up together. Who am I getting? I'm just turning it on. Alright. So that's sufficiently mixed and aerated. Next, I'll add in the butter.
Hey! Lumpy Pickle!
Yep, Lumpy Pickle's here.
Yes.
Avocado Cream KitchenAid is here.
Yes, these are sharks, so this is me and my little cohort Liam. Growing up, I always got the opportunity to go to SeaWorld for my birthday. Long story, I'll tell you when we're not doing this. Anyways, when my mom died, I got to go to Texas. It was my freedom flight. And my friend, without realizing how much I loved and wanted to go to SeaWorld, was like, do you want to go to SeaWorld? And I was like, oh my gosh, you have no idea.
Do fish swim?
Yeah, shark's my spirit animal, and this is myself, and this is my cohort Liam. He's now 5. He is the best.
Liam's a pretty funny kid. He's also ridiculously smart.
Yeah, he's cognitively advanced.
Yeah, he's...
We'd say 8-ish.
Easy.
The last time I was there, which was not quite a year ago, he was multiplying. I mean, he wasn't doing 5 times 5, but he literally said 4 5s go into 20. Like, yep. It was really funny, because he's all, 2 10s go into 20. And I said, that's right, Liam. How many 5s go into 20? And his mom, like, don't ask him that. She smacked me hard. Anyways,
and then he answered.
And then he's like, pause. 4. Like, like, girl, he's cognitively advanced.
Yeah. It is kind of funny how you had more faith in his abilities than she does.
I don't want to say more faith. I just, I'm not as close to the project. How about that?
That'll work.
And okay, and in her defense, she works in schools and stuff. Not schools, but like preschools and stuff. And so often parents see what's not really there and make it bigger than it is. And she was concerned that that's what she was doing. Like she didn't want to make it bigger. Anyways, that's enough of my little cohort.
All right.
How's it going?
So far, so good. Fillings are ready to go. We're just adding butter. I made the mistake of not double checking the butter in the fridge.
But so it was all frozen?
Yeah, it was all frozen, but
because we have a buttload of butter in the freezer?
we have a buttload of butter in the freezer.
Nice. Is this apple rum raisin?
Yes.
Excellent. And this is my pizza pie.
Yep.
Excellent. I'll be back.
All right.
With the laptop.
So all I've done is I cut up the butter into chunks to put it in here, so then that way it'll actually mix up a bit easier. And right now, like, I can kind of press it together and it'll hold a little bit. It's really kind of a sandy mixture. I mean, there's little bits of butter that are in there. This isn't like a pie dough that, like, when I made the pie dough or biscuits even, grating it in and trying to get those big pieces to fold on top of each other. This isn't that kind of dough. So you're just not concerned about the big chunks, if that makes sense. You're more concerned about it actually being mixed together. All right. Should probably weigh this just in case. All right. Yep. For all I know, this is going to vary wildly. Oh, that actually, see? That normally large eggs run about 50 grams. This one's about 52 that I just put in. And then with that second one, it came to 99. Which just goes to show you that, I mean, there's a little bit of variation in the eggs. So I'm still going to aim for 75 grams of egg. Mixed in. So let's 28. There we go. Nice. Okay. So that will do that. And we'll pulse this in. Okay. I'm going to add half of this initially. Oh, that's right, I won't do this with this out. It's a safety feature. This little silver dealie has to be in the back of this, or else this won't turn on. We're aiming for a smooth dough consistency. At least that's what the instructions say. Basically, when it comes together. Because this is still pretty sandy at the moment. Oh. This thing's got so much torque that it twists itself. Still a little Sandy. Hey, Cryptic Caramel, what's going on? 50 grams including shell or just the egg? Just the egg. Good catch on that. Yeah. Cracked, at least in the US, for large classified eggs, the cracked weight should be about 50 grams. I forget what the medium and small and the jumbo designations are. There's a range. It's not like it's exact, like it's totally exact. There's about almost like a 2 gram, like under over, but I want to say 50 is the target for large eggs. Okay, I think that is, yeah, that is probably about as far as that'll go. Let's get a bowl. Dough in here, and we'll knead it a little bit by hand. It shouldn't need a lot in order to just kind of come together. And then we can start working on portioning it. As for the shaping of the empanadas, got a tortilla press. I do have a couple of issues with this particular tortilla press, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Need to get some water. Okay. So the big issue with this tortilla press, which is kind of a design flaw for most tortilla presses, is that when they built it, they just sandwiched the two pieces of wood together and put a hinge on it, so there's no space in between. So here you are trying to press tortillas, but there's no room for, the dough really. And because of the way that it's built like that, they come out like a bit of a wedge. And so what I had to do was actually like flatten it once, then rotate it 180 degrees and flatten it again in order to make them even. See, now even this is a little bit wet. Like I probably didn't even have to add all of that liquid. In fact, part of me is kind of tempted, just given how sticky this dough is, to just dust it with a little bit of flour. So I'm kind of thinking, yeah, let's hit it with just a touch of flour. I don't want to add a whole lot, but it's just a little too sticky. That should. I'm actually just kind of treating it a little bit like a, kind of like the biscuit dough, and just kind of the fold and press. But I don't really want gluten for this. That's pretty smooth. Alright. Really bust out that scale again. divide it into 3 and then take it from there, or I could just eyeball it and call it good. The empanadas will all be slightly different sizes, but you know, hey, this is what happens. It's very helpful. I tried making egg muffins, but with eggs from my friend's chickens are probably not large because I didn't think they turned out quite right. Oh, so yeah, when getting like eggs from friends, generally like, because chickens will lay eggs in a bunch of different sizes. It's not like, oh, this chicken lays an egg this size. It all varies. So it's quite possible that like you got some mediums, maybe got some jumbos, might have even gotten a peewee size. Peewee's actually the size down from small. If you go on, just Google USDA egg classifications and it'll talk kind of all about that. Okay. I'm just really curious what the full weight is. Okay. 1,046 grams divided by 3 is going to be 3. 3 into 14 is going to be 4. 25, so 8. So 328. Okay. Let's see. $320, $324, $330. All right, so that'll be dough number 1. $298, $307, $316, $325, $326. 330. Okay. So we got our 3. Is it? Oakley dope.
Warm 60 degrees.
Nice. Alright, so I'm going to want some wax paper for this. So then that way, things come off pretty easily. Oh, that's right. This has got those bitey teeth. So used to not using the bitey teeth. Alright, so we've got that. Get that out of the way. Okay. Ball number 1. So I just have just rolled it out a bit. The counter's clean, so I'm not really concerned about that. Half. All right, you got 6. Got our press. We got our dough. Got that there. Here's our filling. Okay. So what I do, I'm sure most people will do this, just kind of roll it up into, you know, however big of a ball that ends up coming. Slap in the middle. Press. And then flip around. Yeah. So now we've got our first derpy empanada dough shell thing. since I'm not like laying them down, like I'm not laying them on a whole bunch of like wax paper or anything like that. What I was doing, at least when I was making them, I was just kind of filling them as I went. So I'd make one, fill it. It's not necessarily the most efficient way, but it's just kind of what I had. Then I'm just trying to make sure that I don't have so much filling that it comes popping out, and then pinching the ends together, and also trying to get as much air out as possible. So it totally looks derpy, but I am going to come back with the fork to press down on it to seal it, because the one thing that I found when I made these on Saturday was that just by doing it with my fingers like that, it didn't necessarily stick. It didn't necessarily stick together. Stuff didn't come like pouring out, which was good, but at the same time it was just like, oh, probably should have crimped it a bit more. Oh, we got a long one, so we'll go that way. And these aren't huge empanadas, but to be honest, they are plenty filling. And if you wanted to make a larger one, kind of like, you know, most hand pies or something like that, you just, instead of making 6 out of this, say, make 4, or make 3. And that should give you a pretty sizable one. I actually kind of like them on the smaller side. But hey, it's your food. Do what you want with it. It can. In this particular case, I mean, this dough is pretty wet. So I don't know how much. You could do it instead of with water, like use egg. And that would probably work pretty decently. But I'm just gonna mechanically crimp it with a fork. After I hit it with the finger like that. Put these over here so then that way the finished ones are actually on camera. Yeah. There we go. So how was your day, baby?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
So I farted around a lot, cleaned off my desk,
Nice.
and I started the October statement.
Okay. Oh, the September one was the one that you had to get done by today? Oh. Gotcha. Oh, okay. Oh, good. Ideally, I'd like these a little bit thinner, personally. But 6? 18. Yeah, so 6 of the potato taco filling type, 6 of the faux calzone type, and then 6 of the dessert one. I was saving making the dessert one until last because the filling was still kind of warm. It's funny, I was looking at DIY like tortilla presses last night, or because part of me was like, oh, it'd be great if there was like a shop like a shot press that would come straight down, and then that way be nice even pressure, and that would be really cool. But all of the sort of the mechanical ones that you see are basically just like this. Okay, that one. So now all I'm doing is I'm just pressing down with a fork, give it kind of a pretty edge, and also seal it up. But I've, like, every time I'm doing it, I'm overlapping the last tine of the fork. So then that way, it just looks prettier. Really. That's really the reason. Not bad. Did lots of dishes. Watched some more DaVinci Resolve tutorials. Oh, like I was telling folks at the beginning of the stream that I've been enjoying the May Basho, the sumo wrestling. Yeah. And yeah. Oh my gosh. So last night, I ended up staying up later than I had wanted to, but oopsies. I'm glad I did. And hang on. Okay, so this one's gonna be for potato. Suck that there. I'm gonna put. Okay.
Is it possible to like cook them and then freeze them? Or do you just make them before you bake them and then freeze them that way?
I personally would like make them and freeze them and then bake them from frozen.
I mean, it won't work, but like be careful so not just proportion just run out of time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And that's totally the way to do it. Anyways, so what I was telling you about some of the, for the sumo last night, right? Once we got up into the category 2 wrestlers, oh my gosh, like the quality of the matches like went way up. So just as kind of like an explanation, when it comes to the world of sumo, fighters are broken up into kind of 6 tiers of wrestlers, depending on, really kind of comes down to your bout record. The top 2 tiers wrestle once each day over the course of the 15 days, whereas tiers 3 through 6 only wrestle once every other day. Okay. When one of the matches last night that was one of the tier 2s was crazy. Like, what had happened is these so the two guys are in there, like, okay, ready, wrestle. And in the chat, because the guys that are in the chat, like, some of these folks are really hardcore into it. Anyways, they start talking about how one of the guys has, like, this leg move that he does, which I wasn't totally certain what it was, but after the fact, now I get it. It's kind of this over-the-shoulder flip, but it's a dangerous move because if you don't do it right, you can not only injure yourself, but you can also injure the other wrestler. Anyways, they go up, they start wrestling. Next thing you know, the guy's doing this move, they both end up going out, and normally with the cameras and everything else, it can be pretty clear, like, oh, this person, was out first or whatever.
Right.
However, all of the judges came up, started talking. They couldn't come to a clear consensus, so they had them go again. Okay? Now, that's not unheard of. That happens. Something's happening. Hey! Will be Trunken. Thanks for the follow. So they get up and they go again. And again, the exact same thing happens. The guy does the move, they both go down, the refs come out, and they can't come to a consensus. And so they have them go for a third time. And that is insanely rare. But oh man, it was a great bout.
Alright.
Yeah, I mean, there were a number of them that were really, really good. There was a couple of upsets, and oh man, yeah, it was just, the bouts were really good. Anyways, like I was telling chat earlier, because of this, I'm thinking I need to make the sumo stew, chunko nabe,
Okay.
which I think will be super delicious.
What's in it?
Oh gosh, what's not? Well, actually, what's not in it is really interesting too. The soup base is usually dashi / chicken based. It's never pork or beef, and the reason is because cows and pigs are four-legged, and in sumo, if an arm or a knee or something like that hits the ground, you're out. And so it's considered bad luck to make this stew out of a pork or beef based. So it's chicken based. However, you can put pork and beef into it, like the actual meat. You just can't use the stock base. But they'll throw in like cod, shrimp, chicken. Chicken meatballs is actually a super traditional thing to put into it. And the meatballs are super easy, but it's also like Napa cabbage, tofu, shiitake mushrooms. There might be some carrots in there for decoration, but it's a really protein-heavy stew. And you kind of, like other Japanese nabes, you put the stuff in that takes the longest to cook first, and then you make the other stuff, add it as you go. So like you'll eat round 1, then put in stuff for round 2 while you're eating round 1, and at the very end they'll throw in either rice or udon noodles, for instance, into the broth to finish it off. And what is really kind of interesting is the way that the pecking order works is that the senior and highest ranking wrestlers, they eat first and they eat their fill. It's not like, oh, okay, here's your portion. It's literally like, how much do they want? They get to eat as much as they want, and then the youngest ones, they're the ones that not only prepare it, but they get what's left over. Something like that. Yeah. It is really kind of interesting. I mean, that's how it is. And I mean, depending on the stable, which is what the individual, think of it, it's like a team, but it's not really a team. It's like, okay, we're from this particular stable. The highest ranking ones will usually end up on a salary, but they also have the opportunity to have supporter clubs. And what they'll do, I just realized, I'm like, oh, Mrs. Weiss is going to come squirting with water. And so the fan club / support group, what they'll do is raise money that goes to directly support the wrestler. So then that way that's their living. But they'll also do things like, like it's not uncommon for like old men who are big fans and have a lot of money to pay like a fairly large sum to go hang out with them and like go get a beer. So yeah, it's like literally personal like meet and greets and stuff like that. But it's fascinating. Ladies love them. There's some of these guys that are just like have got massive like fangirl followings, which is really interesting. But then some of those guys are gargantuan.
Some of those guys look like, you were a twig compared.
Oh yeah. So something that I learned about last night, which I had never heard of previously and had not found any documentation for, was called the cube index, which I'll explain in just a moment after I get these in the fridge. What was that?
You should have some sort of music while, pause music.
Well, I do have the...
Hello, boys and ghouls. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it?
I did. It's okay. So the cube index. Suddenly, like, everyone's talking about, because, oh my gosh, the mods in this particular chat are insane. They have stats on... Yeah, all the wrestlers. They know... Well, really, not only do they know, they're like, okay, have a safe drive, Lumpy Pickle. They know the height, they know the weight, they know their like win-loss draw numbers, they know all the basic information. The cube index is a ratio of weight versus their height. The ideal being a 1. So yeah, your height and weight match perfectly. So your height in centimeters is the same as your weight in kilograms. Okay? And what's really interesting, and I'd never even thought about this, but I got a really quick lesson on it again in chat last night, that it's not an absolute like anything else. However, 80% of the time, the person that is closest to the cube ideal wins, which is really kind of interesting. Yeah.
That is really...
But that's not, like I said, it's not a hard and fast rule because there are exceptions. A really excellent...
The 80% not known.
No, it's not. Which is why people talk about the cube index, its number, and really kind of what it means. The one big exception is a wrestler by the name of Enho. Unlike most other wrestlers, I want to say, because he only weighs like 100 kilograms, which is what, 220? And I forget what his height is. Like, I think his cube index is something like 64, which in terms of the cube index is really, really small. However, he's very good and kind of busts that cube index theory. He's an exception. However, 80% of the time, it's pretty accurate. So it is interesting looking at these wrestlers and what their cube index is. Sometimes there are those that actually exceed that cube index, where it's like a 1.04 or 1.05, and you can tell these are big guys. So far, so good. Skulking like friggin' Gollum. Oh, you put in the lurk message. Nice. Have a good lurk, Cryptic Caramel. Your screen has a hole in it? Where? There's no bug.
No. On my screen, like between the tactile and sniping, there's like a black dot.
Oh yeah, it's part of the font for the L.
Oh.
I did not know what you meant.
On my screen, it looked like a little bug.
Ah, that makes
These
sense.
are good.
Dessert empanadas. I was kind of thinking with these, after brushing them with the egg wash, hitting them with a little bit of
Ice
sugar.
cream?
I was gonna say sugar.
Oh, sugar. Good idea. We have the
Turbinado.
Dems the sugars.
Dems the sugar. So.
Hey, you're kidding me.
Oh, you're kidding me here? Hey, you're kidding me. It's been a while. How you doing? Hopefully you're doing all right. We're currently making a dessert empanada.
The pizza ones are in the fridge?
Yep, they're in the fridge for another 25 minutes. The potato taco ones are in for another 13 minutes.
And that's to help the dough rest?
Yeah, it's to help them relax and rest a little bit.
It's stressed.
Well, it is, if you think about it.
Yeah, we stressed it out. It needs to relax.
It does. It needs a spa day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be honest, you could refrigerate these for like a full day if you wanted to.
You could have done one in the magic of television.
I could have.
This is more fun.
Yeah, because then we get to sit around and talk about sumo wrestling and the Cube Index and the all the funny sumo memes.
Busy with adulting? Is your adulting over?
Oof. You've been good? Yeah, I've been busy with adulting, haven't had much time to jump on. Hey, you know what? I completely understand you're kidding me. I'm glad that you're able to spend at least a couple of minutes. But hopefully the adulting went okay.
And it's over now?
And it's over with. Because adulting sucks.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
I do accounting, and we had to do financial statements early, and last week all I did was work.
Yeah.
I even came home and would work until it was time to go to bed.
Yeah, we'd be watching TV or something, and she'd be on her laptop working on a statement or something.
Yeah. And now we're getting ready for the auditors. Joy!
Enjoying us.
Yeah, that'll be the final say if I get to keep my job. They hired me. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but okay. I'm not an accountant. But they gave me an accountant title.
Well, it also doesn't help that it was a bit of a mess.
3 kids. How old are they?
Oh, snap!
That's awesome.
Alright.
I mean, every age has its pros and cons.
Forking it.
And they all have different needs at different ages. I mean, toddlers, you do nothing but run them around and chase them all day. The teenagers, you spend the whole day worrying.
Mrs. Ways has had a fair amount of experience working with children.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So 2 boys, both 8, not twins. Although I bet I bet it's...
And an 18-month.
I bet it's like you have twins, though, even if they're not biologically related. I would think it'd be the similar.
Or was it that you, like, say, for instance, gave birth or had the first one in, like, say, January, immediately got pregnant, and then had the last one in, say, December? It can happen.
It can, and has, and no judgment. Or maybe you're a split family, and you each brought an 8-year-old to the relationship. That's great.
It is great.
8's a fun age, I think. And do the boys, is the 18-month-old, is that their baby girl that they, protect?
Protect baby sister.
Yep, baby sister. Earlier I was talking about my cohort Liam, he's 5. But he's got a little sister.
Yeah, this one's not.
Nice.
Yeah, this
Pre-made families.
Oh, nice.
Those are some of the best. Because she's the girl, she knows. Well, she knows she's the baby. And she's probably super cute.
Alright, last one. 30 minutes on the timer. Okay.
30 minutes on the clock. So we have have 8 minutes until the first ones can go in the oven. Yeah, I bet never a dull moment for you. 18 months is hard. And I don't know how old you are, but children as a young man's game.
And start. Okay. So there we go. That is,
they say, is that.
That is, they say, is that. And the tortilla press is still clean. Huzzah. Okay. I'm going to put on my Be Right Back screen. And, oh, you're 28. Nice. That's actually an excellent age. I got to say, 30s, fantastic. Yeah, I think 30s are just amazing. Like you're ramping up into an excellent decade. So,
Yeah.
Congrats on that. We've got about 20 years on you. So,
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna go get my walker.
To have you say it like that, it's true, but
I know, it's so weird.
she could be our child, and that's our grandchildren she's talking about.
That's really true. Yeah, you're kidding me. You could in fact, you could be our daughter. Are you eating plenty of vegetables? All right. So I'm gonna put up my Be Right Back screen and let everyone kind of chill out to the music for just a little bit. I'm gonna do some dishes in the meantime, and then when the timer goes off, we'll be back and we'll start baking off the empanadas, and then we can kind of take it from there. So I will see y'all in just a couple of minutes. I'm gonna do some dishes just so then that way my life is way easier later. So I will see you in a few minutes.
Hello, boys and ghouls. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK. Making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK. Making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK. Making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK. Making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK. Snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK.
Hey everybody, we back. Hey everybody. So we got 30 seconds on the clock, and then the potato taco ones will be ready to go. I've got my egg wash all ready to go in here, and we'll brush them down and pop them into the oven. We'll set the timer for, I think, 18 minutes initially, and then we'll check them. They're supposed to be kind of nice and brown. That's what we're aiming for. Then we just gotta let them cool a little bit, because initially they're gonna be like lava. But we will have potato tacos.
Empanadas.
Empanadas. We're making empanadas, so we're gonna have empanadas. Okay.
I'll go get you some potato tacos.
Potatoes. Words, all the best.
Words are hard and stuff.
They're hard. So hard. Okay. Boom. Potato empanadas. Just giving them a quick brush on of that remaining half egg and then a little bit of water. But so far, these are looking real good.
They look amazing.
Okay.
And I'm excited to put them in my mouth hole.
In your mouth hole. Okay. There we go. Let them open. Okay. Kato wants to be going. I think it is time for a little ASMR drink. And today, I'm going to enjoy Dr. Pepper in my brand new sleeper ship mug that just came in the mail.
Yeah, that was hard.
Oh, did you already finish?
Yeah.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
Hey, that held the whole thing. Nice.
Not even full.
No, because I've done all the other dishes.
You've done all the dishes.
Laheim.
These are expired.
Okay. Yeah.
May I have some?
Yes, of course. Big shout out to Mr. Andrew Kingsley. Let's see. Whoop. Oh, good. It did trigger it. I remembered it right.
Fantastic.
Good. Since it's through him that I was able to get that mug. And so yeah. Thank you kindly, sir.
So, with an apple empanada, do we have ice cream to go with it, or
There is...
would that be crazy?
No, it wouldn't be crazy. There is some vanilla ice cream out in the freezer in the garage.
In the freezer in the garage. Do you all have freezers in the garage? The very first thing we purchased together was the refrigerator that's outside in the garage.
Yep.
She's amazing.
That was our first big purchase.
We bought it.
At Best Buy.
We got it at Best Buy, but it was one of those like special deals.
Yeah, it was a dented.
But it's one of those like I will never purchase a refrigerator that way again.
Yeah.
Like the handle, we knew it going into it, but we thought we'd save money by replacing the shelf and buying a new handle. But in the long run,
Not so much.
like no, buy the whole thing new.
So yeah, chocolate nabe.
We're gonna do that this week.
Either Saturday or next Saturday.
What's the
Because it's gonna take a while to actually make it happen.
honey? Do you want
Oh, hi,
some
puppy. Puppy.
She on sweet.
She on camera? She is.
Yep.
Oh, here comes the big guy.
She's adorable.
Good boy.
She's my little shadow.
Doggos get treats. But what should we do Thursday?
I don't know. Is there any recommendations by the Twitch family?
Actually, I'm kind of wondering, are we having people come over on Thursday?
I don't know. That's a you thing.
I don't know either. Huh.
You probably should.
Probably.
But you shut it down last week.
I did shut it down because there were a ton of people here.
And that's fine. I told you we could do it every other week.
Which
I'm a
would make
reasonable person.
which would
Oh, them's fighting eye roll. Anyways.
Anyways,
I still love it.
I did notice that Winco had ribs on sale for $2.49.
I like what you're saying.
If I do them the way that I had done them previously, that's a 36-hour sous vide.
Sure.
So I mean, it's something that I could do.
Sounds awesome.
Options. We have options.
The delay on the computer.
Oh yeah, it's easily, or at least it was like a solid 4 or 5 seconds or something like that. At this point, it looks like it's way more.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, like, I had it turned down a ton. Oh man, the buffer on this is like 30 seconds.
Wow.
That's insane. I don't know why it's so, why it's like that. Let's try that. I had it set to a really low resolution, so then that way, in theory, the browser window wouldn't freak out too much. But now that I've actually just turned it to auto, it's like, oh, I'm like a second behind or something like that, which makes sense since it's literally, well, I guess the information has to go to the Twitch servers before coming all the way back.
Where are the Twitch servers?
Who knows?
They're just all over the nation.
My guess is like the Bay Area or something like that. That would make sense.
Technology is fun.
Technology. Although, interestingly enough, I mean, when Lumpy Pickle comes back, we can have this sort of discussion. Earlier today, hanging out in Grant's stream, he kind of offhandedly made this comment about rolling up to shows with a mobile streaming trailer and having a full setup to do full-on live streaming of concerts and things like that, which sounds amazing. It would be a fantastic goal. Considering where he started out at versus where he is today, makes total sense that he can do that. And we were talking a little bit about just sort of some of the technical aspects of it in the stream. Not too heavily, just a little bit. Because of the hardware issues and things like that. And the one thing I didn't have a chance to bring up was I was reading a white paper on the various streaming services online, Twitch obviously being one of them, YouTube being another, Facebook. And in this paper, it talked about the bandwidth issues between the different services and some of the other specs and what is possible for streaming. And that's something that I think needs to be brought up, like I said, with Lumpy Pickle, with Grant. And he's got multiple technical folk helping him out. And that's something I think we need to bring up with him, because I don't know if this platform is necessarily the one to go with at that stage. For the moment, this is perfect. And it ticks all the boxes, and it's, don't get me wrong, we love Twitch. We're on it all the time. So, I mean, I don't have any complaints. But I think just from a technical aspect in terms of what he's attempting to do versus what the service is able to provide, I think a little bit different, but that's a whole other thing. We got 2 minutes on the pizza guys before they come out, and then 11 minutes on the apple ones before they come out of the fridge. The apple ones will hit with the sugar. I don't know if I want to use the Demerara here because the granules are a little big. I'm thinking I'm just going to use, even though this is white sugar, it's not the same super fine refined stuff. This one's a little bit less refined, a little bit larger granules, which you couldn't see because I neglected to change the camera settings. But this sugar is a little bit more granular, so I'm thinking I'll just kind of dust this stuff on there. That's weird. It's showing up as yellow on the, yeah, it's just the lighting. That's really weird. Hey! The Punisher has rolled in. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Less refined and larger. Sounds just like me. Yeah, kind of feel the same way there, buddy. Yeah, that's really weird. I don't know why. Yeah, it does have to be the lighting. Because it's not that way in real life.
Yeah, it's making the tile on the back of the wall behind you look a little.
That's really strange. I don't know why the coloring is looking like that. Well, and what's weird when you look at it, it's like the color of the counter, like here, is way more yellow than the countertop there. That's just very odd. I'm gonna have to have a look at the Oh! You're kidding me, you made the butt glitter.
That's fantastic.
That is awesome.
What do you think?
Yeah, what did you think? I'm gonna go get the pizza ones real quick.
Oh, good. Glad to hear it. That's awesome. You're kidding me. At some point, we'd love to bottle it and sell it. Yes, that very recipe.
Love it, nice. Yeah, and like I said in that YouTube video, that last part, be it cayenne or whatever, I mean, it's really up to you. Like, I'm a huge fan of doing a mixture of Korean gochugaru and chipotle, for instance. Like, chipotle powder in that mix is phenomenal. And then if you like it on the spicier side, you can just add a little bit more. Okay, so pizza ones are now gone.
But we're older, so spicy isn't as fun.
Well, I like it a little bit spicy.
Yes, he can handle spicy better. I love spicy, but yeah, my gut doesn't. So, I'm sorry, but one day you'll learn what Tums are for.
Oh yeah.
That's the one negative about your 30s. Like,
Yeah,
I need Tums.
I was gonna say that's gonna be the thing that you find out when you turn 30 is that Tums is gonna be your new favorite candy.
I don't know about a candy.
Oh, wow. That is so weird that lighting is coming out that color.
Yeah, isn't it? It's gotta be the phone.
It's gotta be.
But that's okay.
Tums are just backwards smut, but I'm bummed. They are. I'll have to do like a color correction for it, but I'll take care of that later. It'll be okay. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that you made it and that you enjoyed it. Yeah, the pixie. Well, I think. Trying to remember if in the YouTube video if it was called pixie dust at that time or if it was
that chicken butt
the
glitter.
chicken butt glitter though. That stuff will. Oh my gosh, chicken, pork, especially on vegetables, it's amazing. I won't be able to buy it. I don't think. Not sure on importing to Australia, but it inspired me. I'd like to thank you. It definitely changed our go-to. I made up my own taco to a garlic seafood blend. Nice. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I don't know what the importation laws would be like. Although, I mean, if it was like an individual, like, I'm sending a gift. Although, even then, it might get held in customs. But if it's dried seasonings, I don't know. I'd have to look into the specifics of that. But that makes me super happy to know that it's become kind of a go-to for you. That makes me super happy. Thank you so much. You're kidding me. That just made my day. Yeah, I think it needs to be a special seal. It probably, most likely, what would have to happen if we're thinking about this from an actual sort of production standpoint, the mix is going to have to be made in a facility that does that kind of thing and has those kind of certifications. Here, at least, it'd be like HACCP certified, which is a hazard analysis critical control point certification, basically. And all that means is that they you're able to identify from the moment your raw ingredients get to wherever the plant is. You're able to trace every stop that they make, any potential points of contamination, and eliminating them and having a plan, and then getting certified that, you know, it's in a facility specifically for doing that kind of thing. And thankfully there are places that, like, if I contacted, I know of at least one place off the top of my head that offers a service of custom mixing that does that kind of thing. And so that is one possibility. So that would be kind of cool. If I get this job I'm applying for, I see me buying a lot of new kitchen stuff. Nicely done, Scott Connor. That will, yeah, what's the job? We're just kind of curious. I reduced down all the seasonings I never use and made it so I have 3 to 4 rubs and seasonings for every day, all without salt, so I can still make it as salty as I need it. That's what I'm saying, is that you've got these blends. And to be honest, for me, it's kind of the same way. Like, I use butt glitter, and I use now pixie dust, formerly chicken butt glitter, quite a bit. Same with the taco seasoning. And then there's a barbecue seasoning blend. I don't remember if I made a video for it. I don't use that one nearly as often, but like the taco one, butt glitter definitely is number 1, pixie dust number 2, and the taco seasoning is number 3 in terms of what I use. But I do enough different things that I can justify having my crazy seasoning cabinet. So, integrity analyst, nice. Apparently he's analyzing integrity.
Or what?
Her.
Items, people, process.
People, places, and things. That'll be good, man. 3 minutes until the apple ones can go in. Oh, we got 38 seconds on the potato ones. I'm just gonna crack the oven a little bit and have a look. Okay. Alright. Bring this over just so everyone can get a look real quick. So at 18 minutes, this is what they're looking. Oh, wow, that light's way off. That is so weird. They're coming along really nicely, but they're definitely not brown yet. So I'm going to put them back in for, I'm thinking, another 4 or 5 minutes. That being the case, so I just adjusted the timer for the calzone one, so then that way we're adding that additional time, since it's clearly going to take a few more minutes in order to brown up like we want them to. His favorite Dream Theater album is A Change of Seasonings. But I'm bummed. I can't say I've really listened to a whole lot of Dream Theater. So, it's not that I don't have anything against them, I just haven't really listened to very much of them. Oh, okay. Don't make EMP empanadas. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It'll fry the cameras, it'll fry the laptop, it'll fry the TV.
But fried tastes good.
But fried food is good. I wouldn't want a deep fried camera though, that wouldn't taste very good. 46 seconds on the clock. I don't know why I just put the mitts on. Let's see. Okay. Hopefully that holds. That feels way more sturdy there. Okay. Time to go get the last ones. Okay. Last batch. Egg wash.
Just eggs there?
It's egg and a little bit of water. Although really I would have put a little bit of milk, but we're now out of milk. Which reminds me, I need to put milk on the list. Yeah.
On the other side?
No. Just on the one. Yes. So I egg washed them first and then hit them with a bit of the sugar. And then this is now ready for the oven. Okay. Start this one. Okay. Updated timers. We got another minute 32 on the potato ones. We got another, 11? Another 13 minutes on the calzones. And now it'll be a total of 22-ish minutes on the apple ones. And then that's where we're at. Everything else, fridge. Yeah, we'll fry everything. So, if I remember correctly, you're kidding me. You're the celiac, if I remember. So the empanada dough recipe that I made today calls for all-purpose flour. You should be able to use a 1-to-1 like replacement, a gluten-free replacement, because I seem to recall we had a conversation. At least I thought it was with you. But we had a conversation about how you couldn't have, not only was it wheat, but it was like there was a few other ingredients that are common gluten-free replacements that you can't have. Okay. Those are still looking pretty pale. Okay, so I just did two things. One, I added 3 more minutes to the clock, and 2, I turned the oven up a little bit because they weren't quite browning as quickly as they should. Still looking pretty pale. Okay, yeah, but if I remember correctly, you're kidding me that there were a few other things like you couldn't have. I think it was like xanthan gum, I think sorghum, if I remember correctly. There was a few. There was a few things that are super commonly used in gluten-free flours that, if I remember correctly, you couldn't have. I'm wondering if cassava flour would work for this. I would think that it might, just because of the way the dough comes together. I would think the cassava flour should work for you. This doesn't really rely on a gluten structure. So if you have, probably the closest, if you happen to have like a gluten-free pie dough recipe that you're a fan of, I would use that for the dough for making empanadas. That would probably be the closest. It would also probably end up being flakier than what these are. The other thing that you could use, well, maybe. Sorry, I'm just thinking through it in my head. I was thinking, like, if you had a gluten-free pizza dough recipe, however, at least for pizza dough, it does kind of rely on that gluten structure. But if there is, like, a gluten-free pizza dough that you like, that would be another alternative that you could use. A gluten-free recipe. Yeah, well, that all gluten-free recipes just comes down to pure, you know, self-control issues. So, yum. I'm looking forward to the sumo wrestling tonight. Not sure, so I want to say, like, the good matches really start right when my wife goes to bed. Yeah, it's somewhere around 10-ish is usually, or at least it's around that time frame when they've been hitting recently. So it'll be really interesting to see what the matches tonight look like. We'll probably end up pulling them up later when we're just kind of eating and hanging out. Okay, check them again. Yeah, these are still looking a little pale, but let me show you. So, I mean, it's got a little bit of browning. Well, the underside is brown. Yes, yeah, and you can see that it didn't. So the seal didn't quite hold as well as I wanted it to, which I kind of thought was going to happen. But,
That's okay, still tastes good.
it'll still taste good. Because of the station.
And a little Parmesan cheese, the Cali pizza base. That's the way to get it, Ella.
Look at that browning! I really should have used milk instead of water. But okay, so those are done. Yeah, I could have used heavy cream, but I didn't think to.
Chicken pot pie works in empanada dough.
Chicken pot pie and an empanada dough. Possibly.
You could probably close it like a different shape. Almost like those British pastries that like
The hand pies, the pasties, Cornish pasties. Chicken pot pie, it could, I think, work. You would have to cool it down completely, and the base would need to be good and thick, so then that way you can spoon it in and fill it. But I don't see why not. Burninating the peasants, yeah. A little parm cheese of the Cali pizza base, yeah, totally. Freeze it first, maybe. Yeah, the chicken pot pie filling, if you froze it first and then did it, you could probably do it pretty easily that way. I've always wanted to try country style steak and gravy in a pie format.
Yes, please.
Mrs. Hueso's all over that. Trying to think how that would work. Actually, it probably could. You could probably get it to work since. So, country fried steak, the gravy is going to be cream based, but it's going to have that roux in it, which, if chilled, is going to thicken up. So, in theory, you could make your country fried steak, chill that gravy. Lumpy Pickle's home. Not country fried steak. Country style steak. You'll have to explain to me what country style steak is. I'm not 100% familiar with that. Lumpy Pickle, to answer your question, the potato ones just came out. And for some reason, the lighting here is super yellow, which it hasn't been previously. They didn't quite brown up like I was wanting them to, so I hit them with my torch. And now they're beautifully brown. So now we're just kind of letting them hang out and cool a little bit before tucking into them, because straight out of the oven, it's like lava, but they're good. Yes, Australians do make and eat meat pies a lot. Hold on. Wait. Say that again?
Well, a couple of them overfilled, like they didn't stay close. What if you poked them with holes? Will it work?
Like if I docked the dough?
Yeah, just
what you mean?
in a couple places. Would that have kept it
from bursting at the seams?
Yes.
I don't know if that necessarily would have stopped them from bursting at the seams, only because I to be honest, I think it wasn't a fact. It wasn't because it built up torch. Oh yeah, just a little hand butane torch that I have, Lumpy Pickle. I think the reason why they spilled out is because it didn't seal up quite as well as I had hoped it would. Again, because I think the dough was too wet, and so it just wasn't sticking together like it should. I was hoping to actually add mashed potatoes to your pies and even smashed peas. Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, you're kidding me. That's what I did. So I don't know if you recall my when we made potato tacos, where we made the ground beef with potatoes, and so that taco seasoning video that you've seen, this has got ground beef with potatoes that were mixed together. There's some peas, carrots, some corn, and I mixed in some cheese in here too. And this is the filling that's in these pies. So it yeah, I used this filling when I made empanadas on Saturday, and I didn't end up streaming. So I know it's gonna taste good. I'm happy with it. I did end up adding hot sauce after the fact. Like I actually made like a little dish of hot sauce and dipped them in there. So I know it works and it's good. But yeah, I totally sweet Decay. Hold on now. I am not a cannibal. I am not advocating cannibalism. I do not recommend.
The opportunity, I might try.
Yeah. I don't know. No.
I know my man.
Shh. Somebody could be watching. I do up roast and any leftovers get mixed with gravy and turn into pies for at lunch. See? You got it. That's exactly how you do it. You're kidding me. That is exactly how you do it. Give you a shave, the answer is no. Okay, yes, I do own a straight razor, but just saying, if I give you a shave, it's gonna be with like a Bic or something like that, a safety razor. So if I'm gonna take your head off, it's gonna take forever with those things. The Ballad of DK Talk. Yeah, exactly. The Ballad of Tacky Snacky. Uh,
You have knives at your fingertips.
I do. I've got a whole rack of knives right here that's behind that particular camera view. Which, if I... Hang on. That is that one. If I do that... See, there's a whole bunch of knives right there. And we put my face back. Oh, centered back. Oh. Let's change camera views. Okay. Alright, these are a little bit browner, but they could be better. Trogdor! Trogdor! Burninated.
Whoa, he's checking out your racks. Ah,
There we go.
that rack belongs to me.
What? What are we talking about?
Scott says he has a rather nice rack.
I do. How'd you notice? Okay. Round 2. More of the same. Except now with like pizza stuff. Okay, these are still quite warm. However, I think we are almost at the point where we can crack them open. Okay, so the apple ones have got another like 8 minutes or so. That one I actually would like to kind of crack open while it's hot, but half a pig. Where's the other half? In my belly. So Lumpy Pickle, since you're back, earlier in Grant's stream, and you know how he was talking about his dream of having that mobile streaming truck pull up to, like, say, concerts to stream them, and you know, that was sort of like the offhanded dream, which I think would be amazing. I'd love to get a full pig, just so we just don't have the room for it. I would love to get a full hog also. I would love to cook said whole hog. I would also like to have it broken down into the different pieces and everything. We do have the room. Well, we can make the room for it. We've got another chest freezer that we could easily fit it into, but not at the moment. But I would want everything. I'd want the snout, the ears, the tail, all of it. That's just me. Anyways, the mobile streaming truck and all of the cameras and everything else. I was reading a white paper about the different streaming services when it comes to the like the video upload bit rates and the video possibilities. And yeah, oh dude, I know how to make an emu. I had a Hawaiian teach me how to do it. If honestly, like, if I could get the raw materials for it, I would absolutely do a pig in the ground. I would do it in a heartbeat. I would just need plenty of like banana leaves and banana stumps, plenty of mesquite wood, lava rocks, and stuff like that, but we can totally make it happen. Anyways, back to the white paper about the streaming services. In kind of reading about all that stuff, I don't think Twitch is going to be the way that he's going to want to go. I think if he truly wants to do that, I think he's going to want to do that on YouTube. Just from what I was reading, it can handle the... haven't been in this category. Hey, Hawk Whisperer, welcome, welcome. Congratulations on just randomly finding me. We are currently just kind of chewing the fat while we wait for the last of the 3 empanada types to finish in the oven. In the meantime, 2 of the empanada types are done. This one has got kind of a potato taco filling. This one's kind of a mini calzone. Hey, thanks for the follow. And the last one is a dessert one with sauteed apples and raisins, some butter, brown sugar, cinnamon, and rum. That's the ones that are currently in the oven, and those are the ones that we're waiting for. So we're kind of letting these cool down before we dig into them. But we were just kind of talking about some of the technical aspects of streaming and just random stuff. But like I was saying, Lumpy Pickle, I think YouTube is going to be the platform that he's going to want to do that on, because it can handle a significantly higher bit rate as well as audio rate. I've seen some tests that were done in terms of the audio and video reproduction that are possible by way of YouTube Live. And if he really is serious about that, I think that's going to be the platform he's going to want to do it on. Just from, like I said, the technical aspects of it. So, hey, welcome, Hawk Whisperer. Since you're new here, it does sound quite expensive, but that's kind of a down the line thing. We'll explain kind of all that stuff, but let me at least introduce myself to you since you're brand new. My name is Decay. This is Tactical Snacking with Decay. We are currently in my kitchen in the Portland metro area, and I have been cooking basically my entire life. I went to culinary school about 13 years ago. I don't work in a restaurant. I don't call myself a chef because I don't consider myself a chef. I'm a cook. I love just about everything and will make just about everything. And if I don't know how to make it, I'll definitely give it a shot. I don't shy away from crazy ingredients or even crazier recipes. And so I'm just like, let's just do this. And empanadas just kind of seemed like the thing to do. I've not made them before, so we're like, hey, empanadas are delicious, so let's give them a shot. And I did a couple of different fillings for them, and so this is kind of like, okay, well, this is where we're at. So you picked up bread making recently, former baker, and eventually want to open my own bakery. Really? So, okay, Hawk Whisperer, if that's the case, then what you're telling me is that you were really more into the pastry side of things. So you were doing sweet breads, you were doing cakes, you were doing that sort of thing, as opposed to the bread makers. And I say that because I know bakers, and they're very touchy about that. Yeah, cookies too, exactly. Okay. Yeah, I know pastry chefs. I know bakers. They do not like to be confused with each other. They're very particular about that. So that's awesome. Yeah, bread making is something that I would like to do more of. I don't have a ton of experience doing it. You're what's referred to as a sweet baker. Okay. Right on. That's awesome. If you don't mind me asking, what part of the world are you in? Like, are you in the US? Are you in Europe? Just kind of curious. I'm not asking for you to dox yourself. I'm just kind of curious what part of the world you're in. But that sounds awesome. The Hawk Marksman Baker. Cool. Target cookies. I was going to be working for a really nice German baker, but he had to shut down the baker before I could start. Oh, that's a bummer. German bakeries are a lot of fun. I've been to many of them since I was a kid. There was in the town that I grew up in, there was a really, really nice, sizable German bakery that made all kinds of amazing breads. They made cakes. They made all sorts of traditional pastries. Phenomenal place. They had these great murals on the inside of the original Hansel and Gretel fairy tale. The one where they actually get baked into giant cookies but end up breaking out. So those are pretty cool. Kind of like why real cowboys never wear cowboy boots. They don't want people to think that they're truck drivers. And the distinction between bread making my type of baking was that I was a sweet baker. Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. But yeah. Oh, so the distinction between like Hawk Whisperer just said, the distinction is absolute giant of a man, but very sweet. Nice. A sweet baker is someone that makes cakes pastries, cookies,
Gotcha.
as opposed to a bread baker.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Sorry, I didn't know.
It's okay.
This is
That's my wife, Mrs. Weso, who's hanging out in the dining room at the moment.
I gotta stay out of the kitchen. There's not enough space.
Oh, these actually did brown up kind of nicely. I blame the sugar. But yeah, okay, so that one did kind of open up like I thought it would. Okay. Done. And we got our last ones. So we got all 18 empanadas out of the oven, ready to go. Quick sip. Oh, you also forage for wild edible plants. That's cool.
This is a fantastic place to forage. The mushrooms are pure.
Hawk Whisperer, you sound like my kind of people.
Yeah, what part of the world is it?
Info dump, because I just go on and on. It's true. I do have a tendency to go on and on.
Not a bad thing.
No, she's not saying it's a bad thing. It's something that happens. Okay. Where on earth did those scissors go? Oh, hi, dog. These are the doggos. This is the big one down here. Hang on, let's change cameras real quick so you can see him. So the big light colored one that's walking away, that's Jane. He's our big guy. And then the little one that just ran away, that's our girl Vera. Yeah, the sleeper ship mug did in fact come. Although I do have a bone to pick with Streamlabs. It works, but there's a crack here and on this side. I hand washed it before stream and put water in it and let it sit, and there were no leaks. But you run your fingernail across it, and there's a definite. Oh, treats for doggos. Here, dogs. You guys noticed it. Good girl. So, yeah, I got a bone to pick with them. This isn't something that went out in, like it didn't crack in transit, because the crack goes all the way through. This is something that was pulled off the line, but whatever. Anyways, okay. Let us crack each of these guys and give them a taste. And even though these just came out, I'm going to crack one while it's hot because, well, I want to. Boom. That reminds me, I bought a bag of mini jerky treats to give to my neighbor as a gift for her dog. Nice. We don't deserve dogs. It's true. Okay. So we got our, you know what, hang on. Let's turn that off so we can enjoy the beauty shots of the empanadas. The weird yellow color, which just for some reason popped up, and I got to figure out why. So here is, I don't know. It's easier if I set it down. And then, lastly, okay. So, if you look in there, that's the interior of the potato one. It's still nice and steamy. Here's the interior of the calzone one, and you can see, if you look real careful, you can see the cheese sticking to the top of it. You can get that pull. And then, let's get the other half. There we go. And there's the interior of the sweet apple one with raisins. So, Oh. That's good stuff. You want to come and get in on this? Magma. Yeah, I got my my water glass handy.
Yes, I do. Which one?
Potato, calzone, dessert.
Okay.
Potato?
Calzone. You know I want that one.
I know you do.
I've been talking about it for days.
Oh, you need to replace the wolf head. Yeah. So this one is a salt glazed Oktoberfest mug, Spaten one that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace for like $2. And salt glazed mugs are pricey.
This is really good.
That turned out good?
Yeah. What do you think?
Take a bite.
I like it.
Tastes like a mini English muffin pizza.
I do.
I mean, it's the exact same stuff because I put onion, mushroom, and garlic in there.
Mm-hmm.
The pepperoni. Granted, there's a lot more cheese. Sad Pudgy Bunny. Okay. Apple one. This one potentially is going to be quite hot.
Yeah, it's just holding it. It smells amazing. I think this was some ice cream.
Yeah. So it's got a good flavor. However, I think in this circumstance, the ratio of the outer to the filling is way too high. Like, I think there's way too much of the dough to the filling. Like
So
these.
how would you fix that?
So these, I probably should have, instead of making 6 smaller ones, make 3 large ones. So then that way there's a significantly higher ratio of the filling to the empanada dough.
Pudgy bunny.
Lumpy? Okay. So Mr. Hawk Whisperer, since you're new, Lumpy Pickle just said that he had just eaten, but he's gotten hungry. However, since you're new and you have yet to see this, I'm going to run my intro for you. There actually is a disclaimer in it. So I'm going to run the intro real quick. Meanwhile, we're going to nosh. Warning. The following video presentation contains scenes of extreme deliciousness. Failure to either eat first or bring a snack to consume during the presentation could result in wanting to lick the screen or in some way act the fool. Ain't nobody want that. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, boys and ghouls. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK.
And now we're not muted.
Yay! I'm gonna feed the dogs, because the dogs...
It's their feeding time.
It's feeding time, baby. Whoa, whoa.
Whoa. Yeah, yeah.
Which Hawk we make...
Yeah.
By we, I mean Elle here.
Yeah.
Makes the dog food.
It's true. In fact, not last stream, but was it last stream?
I think it was last stream.
It might have been the last. Yeah, I think it was the last stream because I started it out by making this batch of dog food because I've been making our dogs food for about the last 7 years or so, and they're on what's effectively a raw diet, and so I made it on stream and talked about it and just kind of all that stuff, and that's what she's in the process of feeding to them now because it's past their feeding time.
Yeah, the pitbull sad eyes. I can't look at those sad feet.
He's just like, I'm starving. Why would you torture me like this? That's his superpowers. He's always hungry.
Yep, that is his superpower.
It's true. Let's see.
She, on the other hand,
Yeah.
I'll eat.
Yeah. Well, she's not as like crazy excited. Like, oh my gosh, I need to eat. But she will eat. Like, she'll definitely want to. Oh, Sumo channel is on.
I think.
What part of mute? Let's see. Oh. Yeah, so the Sumo channel is actually on. But I think we'll just go ahead and...
First, you should ask a question.
What questions?
People have questions.
Oh, yeah, that is a good question. And whether or not anybody happens to have any questions before we head out for the evening, because I have a powerful need to eat, as does Mrs. Wayso, and I know we both, or at least I'd like to sit down. So, unless there's any further questions, then we will call it an evening. You're the Justice League. Yeah. Funny how that happens. It's been fun, folks. Hopefully, it's been at least a little entertaining. So, anyways, well, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Hawk Whisperer, and Will Be Trunkin for following today. Thank you for the cheer you're kidding me. Thank you so much to Lumpy Pickle, The Punisher, Avocado Cream Gitchenade, Matt Kelly, Squire Creamsicle. Did I miss anybody else that had popped up during chat today? I don't think so. I think that's about anybody. And any other, lurkers that are just hanging out. Appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. All of y'all have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you're at. Take care. I will be back Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. No clue what I'm making yet. We shall see. But everyone have a good night, and catch you later.
Hello, boys and ghouls. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?